The NFL season started last night. Cowboys, Eagles. The Eagles win after a rain delay. But now it's time to talk about the Baltimore Ravens' first game of the season. Their injury report is out. Unfortunately, Isaiah Likely and Patrick Ricard will not be playing. I'm going to talk about how I think that's going to impact this game. So let me know in the comment section down below your thoughts on how the loss of Isaiah Likely and Patrick Ricard are going to impact the Ravens. Now, before I get into any of that, I do want to say appreciate all of you for joining at the start of this football season. We'll be going live before and after Sunday night's game, so make sure to come back then. And I'll be live on TikTok as well, but we'll also be live on YouTube, which is where most of you are going to be watching this video. So should be a lot of fun. Chargers Chiefs is tonight. That should be a lot of fun as well. I'm rooting for the Chargers. I almost wore my Herbert jersey in this video just because, but I know you guys get mad when I wear my other team's jerseys in the YouTube videos. So let's jump right into it. Let's talk about this Ravens-Bills game. This is a huge game. And when you look at the playoff game and the regular season game that happened last year, there were two very different stories. In the playoff game, the Ravens kind of struggled to control the football. The Buffalo Bills had a lot more success on offense. Not an abundance of success, but they had more success than they showed in the first game. And the Ravens just really couldn't stop Josh Allen when it ended up mattering. And unfortunately, they made some crucial errors that led to their loss. But one of the biggest things about that game was Zay Flowers didn't play. Zay Flowers was unavailable for the playoffs. And some people believe that that was a big impact on the Ravens passing attack. But I was not one of those people. I felt like the Ravens passing attack with or without Zay Flowers was going to be relatively similar. Not saying Zay Flowers wouldn't have helped. He absolutely would have. Could the Ravens have won with Zay Flowers? Yes. But it didn't feel like the wide receivers were the reason for the Ravens' loss. We can look at other issues that I don't want to really bring up right now. I didn't. Andrews. But overall, the Ravens have Zay Flowers now. The problem is they don't have their number 2 tight end or number 1 tight end, however you want to put it, with Isaiah Likely. But one of the biggest aspects that they're missing is Patrick Ricard. Because if you remember on the regular season game against the Buffalo Bills, Patrick Ricard was maybe the most crucial player in that game. Unbelievable blocking that led to multiple massive Derrick Henry runs. And that's going to be very missed by Todd Monken, Lamar Jackson, Derrick Henry, and this entire Ravens rushing attack. Because Patrick Ricard is the engine that creates everything, right? Derrick Henry, yes, he runs on that track and he finds those holes, and he's one of the best running backs in the history of the NFL. But Derrick Henry, if he doesn't have those holes, it's a lot harder to make big plays happen. That's why he was arguably the best running back in the NFL last year. Scored a ton of touchdowns, crazy yards. Obviously didn't, win the Super Bowl like Saquon Barkley did, but Derrick Henry was up there, like comparatively, statistically. So Derrick Henry now doesn't have that lead blocker, that guy that's going to be creating the space. And the Ravens currently only have 2 tight ends / fullbacks on the roster. I expect them to make elevations, but nobody's going to be Patrick Ricard, the best blocking tight end or fullback in the NFL. He's essentially, I don't even know what to call him. He's a fullback. Like, he's not an extra offensive lineman because he moves. And he really isn't like a great pass blocker, but in the run game, he is one of the best run blockers in the NFL, regardless of position. He will just flatten anybody. We call him Pancake Pat, Project Pat. He's going to be absolutely missed. So I feel like that's going to leave the running game for the Ravens in a little bit more of a difficult position. I expect them to utilize a little bit more of the option game with Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry, as well as the other running backs, maybe Keaton Mitchell, Justice Hill in the screen game a lot. But one of the biggest reasons why I think this read option game is you look at last year, week 1, and the Ravens against the Chiefs, and Lamar Jackson ran for over 120 yards that game. He was phenomenal. But most of them weren't scrambles. It was a lot of just him reading the defense, read option with Derrick Henry, and he just kept keeping it because the Chiefs were playing very hard on Derrick Henry, and I fully expect the Buffalo Bills to do the same thing. They know what happened. I think it was week 4, week 5 last year when they played each other. They don't want that to happen again. They're going to play Derrick Henry hard. Lamar Jackson should be keeping those in these situations. They're going to be in shotgun. They're not going to be under center nearly as much because, again, they're missing their multiple tight end sets, their fullback sets. It's going to be a lot more shotgun, maybe a little bit of pistol where Derrick Henry's just behind Lamar Jackson. But I would expect a lot more quick read options, zone reads, RPOs to get the ball up. Because again, unlike in the playoffs we do have Zay Flowers. So in the RPO game, Zay Flowers is a crucial piece to that RPO game because we love to hit those quick wide receiver screens. Todd Monken, I felt like towards the end of last year, kind of went away from the screen game, which was so dominant for the Ravens during the regular season. I mean, Justice Hill, it felt like almost every game was getting just a massive screenplay, whether it was on a 3rd and 15 or just a big touchdown play. Justice Hill was phenomenal in the screen game. Keaton Mitchell, we now have, obviously, LeJontay Wester, great in open space. But the Ravens are going to utilize that RPO game. I mean, think about what they can do with, obviously, Zay Flowers in terms of the RPO screens or even just an RPO slant, but also DeAndre Hopkins. DeAndre Hopkins is just a quick read to be able to find him immediately. Some of the best hands the NFL has ever seen. That's going to provide a lot of value. So I would expect for us to shift away from that really hard-nosed power running game and more into an option RPO running style for this game while we don't have Patrick Ricard. And I hope that it continues after we get Patrick Ricard back. But I do think that this game is going to kind of open the door and kind of force the Ravens into some new concepts, or not necessarily fully new, but concepts they don't utilize, I think, as much as they maybe should with those RPOs, those read option games, because this run game is going to struggle without Patrick Ricard. Right, we have a new left guard. Our right guard struggles in a lot of situations, but the benefit is when you're running read options, you typically aren't having, it's more of a zone blocking scheme most of the time. So what that means is Daniel Faalele is not having to pull. He's not having to move nearly as much. He's just following his initial gap, his initial man that's in front of him in that running scheme. So that kind of does benefit him as well, but the issue is it's going to be more difficult to explode on those massive Derrick Henry runs that we're so, accustomed to as Ravens fans after only 1 year. Derrick Henry he cranked out so many 50+ yard runs. It's not going to happen nearly as often without Patrick Ricard. So hopefully he's able to come back soon, and without Isaiah Likely, who again is not just like a good run blocker, but also when he's out on the field, you have to be weary about him in the passing game. So, we just don't have, like, Charlie Kolar is a solid player. He's a solid pass catcher. He's a solid blocker, but he doesn't, pose the threat that Isaiah Likely does. So teams are going to play the run a little bit harder when Charlie Kolar is in, which means, hey, maybe the Ravens have to open up the passing game a little bit more, take some more deep shots, right? Utilize their speed, utilize Devontae Walker, utilize DeAndre Hopkins over the middle, utilize Zay Flowers in the screen game, but also just getting him in open space. Create extensions of the run game through the quick passing game rather than just trying to bully your way through the Buffalo Bills defense. Because without Patrick Ricard, right, that's like a bully, but his hand is cramping. Like, yes, you are still the bully. You can still bully them, but, like, you got to find creative ways around, using your right hand, because that is Patrick Ricard with regards to this Baltimore Ravens running game. But those are my thoughts. That's what I think the Ravens are going to have to do. Thank you so much for watching. Subscribe for more. And I'll see all of you again tomorrow. And hopefully I'll see you in the stream before the game on Sunday. Thank you so much. See you again then.